So let's dig into the refugee issue with a couple of things no one seems willing to address. That most of those seeking to infiltrate America wouldn't bother coming in as a refugee. The Paris attacks and our response will electrify the homegrown already in our midst. And do we not have to admit that in and around certain religious centers there are killers well into preparation for the next attack? And where do we draw the line between fear-mongering knee-jerk and harsh reality? Welcome back. The former Canadian jihadist who spent time as an undercover counterterrorism agent for the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, Mubin Shaikh, is in the house. Mubin, it's a pleasure to get a chance to talk to you again. Let's be very clear right now from the start. Is there any doubt in your mind, any doubt whatsoever, that there are jihadists from foreign soil who are in America at the moment plotting against this country?
Of course, that's a situation that holds true for the majority of the West, whether North America or Europe.
But you are convinced, and as far as your experience will tell you, that despite what anybody will say, whether it's 1, 1,000, a million, whatever, they are here, yes?
Yeah, of course. I mean, domestic terrorists, there's a whole American narrative about protecting America from enemies, foreign and domestic. And of course, you know, the ISIS type attackers, they're the ones that have the most media coverage right now. So it's gonna create even copycat attacks, people wanting to plug into what's happening. So it's a very, very volatile time. That's putting it mildly.
What do you believe is the greater danger? The refugee coming in from Syria or any other country, or the homegrown terrorist that is here already and that walks among us and that possibly works next to us, or even lives near us?
It's not the refugees. I mean, they're fleeing people like this. And, you know, these individuals that are in the U.S., in North America, in the West, in Western Europe, I mean, you know, the best that can be done really is human intelligence operations to find out exactly who's who in the zoo, so to speak. The refugees, they're fleeing this sort of persecution. And I was listening to your previous guest. I mean, you know, we don't want to get into anti-refugee or anti-Muslim narratives. This is just going to feed ISIS even more.
Is there any doubt in your mind that those who want to come to America and do damage here, they are more likely to come in on student visas, commercial aircraft, or other forms of transportation, crossing borders, if you will, than they would spend time trying to be a refugee and getting in that way? What's the reality?
Of course. I mean, it's not an easy process to be a refugee, and moving through places is not very easy at all. I mean, to get on a plane, to get a work visa, to get a student visa, even that requires a level of vetting, and still you'll get these kinds of operators, you know, from in that midst. So the refugees, it's more difficult for them to do that than it is the good old-fashioned way.
There are some people and some political candidates who want to either shut down or they want to encircle the mosques in America right now and look there and make them the point of attack. Do you think that's a good thing to do, or is that an overreach?
Well, let me say that when I was a security intelligence operative, we will follow people wherever they go. If they go into a mosque, if they go into a library, if they go into a variety store or a gas station, we'll follow them there. The mosques are not places where, you know, people get up and say, you know, do these things, commit these attacks. ISIS is great. Nobody in their right mind will do that. They know if there's a legitimate mosques don't do this. They'll lose their licenses.
Legitimate mosques. Isn't that the key there, Mubin? Legitimate mosques. That's the key.
That's right. That is the key. Legitimate mosques and legitimate imams. It's these garage store mosques that you really got to watch out for, apartment building mosques. And this is where the community comes into play. If they see something strange, if there's a mosque down the road, why do you need a little prayer center here in your little apartment with your little gang of guys, right? So those are the places that we should look at, not mosques per se.
20 seconds, though. We do still need to be vigilant every place, everywhere, every time, because they are here, right?
That goes true for murderers, rapists, drug dealers, muggers, and robbers. You know, be vigilant, of course, but don't overdo it. You'll become paranoid.
There maybe is nothing more dangerous than the knee-jerk, but at the same time, be vigilant. I think your words are perfect. Vigilant from A to Z and everything in between. Mubin Shaikh, thanks so much for joining us, my friend. The fading doctor, the candidate showing some resolve, and the poll leader who may have just quadrupled down on immigration and refugees. Next on the